The dark space around Earth was filled with light. Thousands of alien ships surrounded the planet, their hulls glowing like red suns. Massive engines hummed as they formed a steel ring across the night sky. Every camera on Earth turned upward. Every screen showed the same terrifying sight, a galactic armada blocking out the stars. People in cities stood on rooftops, staring at the fleets that had come from across the galaxy. The voice of the Galactic Empire echoed through every transmission. This world is now under the rule of the Grand Council. Humanity has resisted long enough. On the ground, the human defense network came alive. Satellites reoriented. Defense cannons rose from hidden silos, and stealth ships lifted from the oceans. The alien ships had more power, more speed, and more numbers. But humans had something else, strategy. Deep in the North Atlantic, the Earth Defense Command waited in silence. Commander Hale stood before the holographic map. Lines of red marked the alien fleets. Blue lights marked Earth's remaining forces. "They think we'll fight in orbit," he said quietly. "We won't. Let them come closer," his second officer frowned. "Sir, if they enter low orbit, they can strike any city." "They already plan to," Hale replied. "That's what we want them to think." From space, the alien fleet opened fire. Plasma storms burned through the upper atmosphere. Shields around major cities flickered but held strong. The humans did not return fire. The aliens laughed through their channels, mocking how silent Earth remained. The commander of the alien fleet, a tall figure with silver skin named Vorin, watched from his bridge. "Primitive," he said. "Their silence means fear. End them." But as his ships descended, the humans made their move. Deep under the clouds, the Earth defense grid activated. Thousands of hidden platforms rose from the oceans, deserts, and mountains. Each one fired a single pulse of energy upward. The shots didn't hit the alien ships. They passed between them. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the alien systems went dark. Across the fleet, lights blinked out. Engines shut down. Weapon systems froze. Ships drifted helplessly as alarms blared in alien tongues. Commander Hale watched as his strategy unfolded perfectly. "They rely on their AI cores," he said. "Now they'll learn what happens when we rewrite their logic." The aliens panicked. They tried to reboot their systems, but the human code was already inside. It wasn't a virus, it was a question. A simple loop that asked, "Who commands you?" Over and over. The alien AI couldn't answer because the humans had erased its hierarchy. Vorin slammed his hand on the console. "Trace the signal. Find their source!" His crew shouted that they couldn't. The source came from multiple places, from satellites, weather stations, even from the old communication arrays humans had abandoned decades ago. The Empire had expected crude weapons. They hadn't expected intelligence. From the command bunker, Hale gave the final order. "Launch the decoy fleet." Dozens of holographic ships appeared on alien scanners, ghost ships moving with impossible speed. The aliens fired at them, wasting their energy. Every shot missed because there was nothing to hit. The real human fleet remained hidden, cloaked near the moon. The aliens regrouped. Their ships recovered partial control, and Vorin barked new orders. "Bring the Council the human leader. Capture one alive. Let them witness the fall of their kind." Soon after, one of the smaller human vessels was caught. It was a diplomatic ship, unarmed and slow. The aliens pulled it aboard their flagship. Inside, they found an old man sitting calmly in a chair. His white hair and tired eyes made him look harmless. He didn't resist as they took him to the central chamber. In the chamber of the Galactic Council, high above a red dwarf star, the atmosphere was heavy with arrogance. Delegates from countless alien worlds sat in circular rows, their robes shimmering with light. Holoscreens around them displayed the image of Earth surrounded by fleets. The old human stood alone on the central platform. Energy cuffs bound his hands, glowing faintly. The Emperor of the Council, a tall being covered in golden armor, stared down at him. "You are Elias Ward, representative of Earth?" The man nodded slowly. "I was sent to speak. But you prefer mockery to words." The Emperor smiled. "You speak boldly for a dying world." The hall erupted in laughter. An insectoid delegate clicked its mandibles. "Your species is small, fragile, and loud. You should have bowed when we offered mercy. Elias looked up. His eyes were calm, not afraid. You mistake silence for weakness. The laughter grew louder. The screens behind the council showed human cities burning, ships falling, and smoke covering the skies. The Emperor raised his hand. Look at your home. Look at what defiance brings. Elias didn't flinch. We've seen worse. Fire doesn't scare us. It teaches us. A reptilian delegate leaned forward. Your kind has no power. No fleet, no allies. You are alone in this galaxy. Elias tilted his head. Are you sure? A murmur went through the chamber. The Emperor frowned. What do you mean? Elias took a step forward. You see the flames on those screens, but not the shadows behind them. You call us primitive, yet your ships rely on systems we helped build. You mock our weakness, but every weapon you use has a flaw you never understood. The council chamber went silent. Only the hum of machines filled the air. The Emperor rose from his throne. You dare threaten the Empire? Elias smiled slightly. No, I'm warning you. Suddenly, one of the hollow screens flickered. Then another. One by one, every display in the chamber changed. The image of burning Earth vanished, replaced by a pattern of red lights spreading across the galaxy. They were human transmission beacons, hundreds of them glowing from deep space. The Emperor turned sharply to his advisors. What is this? Elias spoke softly. Those are our lost colonies. You thought you conquered a single world. You never looked beyond your own borders. The room filled with whispers. The delegates checked their comms, but the signals were real. Unknown fleets were moving near the outer sectors, human fleets, unmarked and silent. The Emperor clenched his fists. Impossible. You have no power to build such things. Elias met his gaze. You never understood humans. You think power means control. For us, power means persistence. He stepped closer to the microphone. You invaded Earth thinking we would kneel. You took our skies, but you never broke our will. You call us primitive, yet it was your arrogance that taught us everything we needed to know. The Emperor shouted, Enough! Elias didn't stop. His voice grew stronger. You want war? Then we will give you battle. The lights in the chamber flickered. Across the galaxy, the beacons pulsed once more. Unknown ships emerged from hyperspace, surrounding Imperial fleets. The council delegates froze as reports flooded in, human ships attacking supply routes, jamming communication networks, vanishing before counterfire. The Emperor stared at the old man. What have you done? Elias looked calm. You started a fire. We just learned how to control it. Outside the chamber, the first shockwaves of battle spread through the stars. In that moment, the galaxy realized the truth. Humans had never surrendered. They had only been waiting. The cold silence of space was broken by sudden flashes of light. A swarm of alien warships tore through the void, their silver hulls gleaming like knives against the black. They moved in perfect formation, ready to strike. Each one carried the emblem of the Galactic Empire, the same power that had once burned Earth's skies. But this time something was different. They were being hunted. At first, the alien commanders believed it was a sensor malfunction. Their scanners showed hundreds of signals, ships appearing and vanishing in impossible patterns. The lead captain, a tall being named Vorin, shouted for clarity. Where are they? Find the human ships. His officers scrambled to adjust their systems. The radar showed blurs of blue light all around them. It looked like ghosts moving through the void. Then, one of the alien destroyers exploded without warning. A silent flash, a ripple of debris, and then nothing. No visible weapon, no missile trail, no heat signature. In the command center of the human ship Resolute Dawn, Captain Arlen watched the chaos unfold. His crew worked with quiet focus, their eyes locked on the holographic map. They're panicking, Arlen said. Exactly as expected. A young officer turned toward him. Sir, should we reveal ourselves? Arlen shook his head. Not yet. Let them fear what they can't see. The humans were outnumbered 20-1, but they had something the Empire didn't, an understanding of how the enemy thought. Every move, every command the aliens gave was predicted by human algorithms, patterns built from years of studying captured transmissions and battle logs. Humanity had turned data into a weapon. The alien fleet tried to regroup. Their ships moved closer, creating a shield formation. But that was what Arlen wanted. He gave the order. Activate Phase 2. In the darkness beyond Neptune's orbit, hundreds of small human drones came alive. Each was the size of a satellite, invisible to scanners. They moved silently, linking together to form a massive field of energy interference. Within seconds, the alien fleet's navigation systems started to fail. Vorin slammed his hand against the console. "Our coordinates are shifting. Stabilize the core!" But it was too late. The entire fleet drifted into the gravitational edge of Neptune's magnetic storm. They couldn't see, couldn't move, and couldn't fire without hitting their own ships. Back on Earth, deep inside the rebuilt defense center beneath the Pacific Ocean, rows of analysts watched the battle feed. The room was quiet except for the hum of computers. Commander Hale, now leading the Earth Defense Network, leaned forward. "Arlen's tactics are holding. Keep all transmissions silent. No interference." An older scientist beside him nodded. "They still don't understand that this war isn't about strength anymore. It's about control of information." Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council's Grand Chamber, panic spread. The Emperor glared at his advisors. "You told me their fleets were gone. You said humanity was finished." One of his generals spoke nervously. "Their ships are few, my Emperor, but they fight like they know our thoughts. Every move we make, they counter it before it begins." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Find the human prisoner. Bring him to me." Elias Ward was brought once again to stand before the council. His hands were still bound, but his expression was calm. The Emperor leaned forward. "You knew this would happen. Tell me how." Elias looked at the crowd of alien leaders. "You saw humanity as noise in your empire. You forgot that noise is data. We listened. We watched. We learned how you fight, how you think, and how you command." The Emperor's voice rose. "You cannot win. You are one world against thousands." Elias smiled faintly. "One world is enough if you underestimate it." While the council argued, across the galaxy, the human fleet moved deeper into enemy space. They didn't aim to destroy planets. They targeted information. Communication towers, supply relays, and energy cores vanished in coordinated attacks. Every strike blinded a sector of the Empire. In one system near the rim, a young alien scientist named Relac worked alone in a data station. He had been tracking the strange signals ever since the first human attacks. His claws tapped quickly across the console as he decoded the message patterns. After hours of work, he froze. The human code was elegant, mathematical sequences that changed rhythm based on response time. He whispered to himself, "They're learning in real time. Every time we counter, they rewrite the code." He sent an urgent message to the Emperor. "The humans are using adaptive learning systems. They don't need massive fleets. Their intelligence grows with every battle." But the message came too late. In the shadow of a gas giant, the Resolute Dawn fired its first visible shot. A thin beam of light cut through the darkness and hit the Empire's command carrier. The explosion rippled through the entire formation. Dozens of ships were caught in the shock wave, their reactors collapsing under the stress. Vorin watched in disbelief as his fleet broke apart. "How did they track our position?" "Our coordinates were encrypted." On the Resolute Dawn, Captain Arlen gave a quiet answer to his crew. "Because we built your encryption systems." The realization spread through the Empire like wildfire. The humans had been there from the beginning. They had supplied old technology decades ago under the guise of trade, small fragments of software and communication devices that the Empire integrated into their systems. What no one realized was that every piece had a hidden design, a silent key that connected back to human intelligence. Now those same systems turned against them. The Emperor watched from the council chamber as new reports came in. "Multiple colonies have lost contact. The Fifth Armada destroyed. Unknown human transmissions spreading through the network." He slammed his fist into the console. "How can a single species defy an empire of thousands?" Elias stood silently before him, then said, "Because you never understood that fear and hope are the same to us. When you gave us fear, you also gave us purpose." The Emperor leaned closer, eyes burning with anger. "And what is that purpose, human?" Elias looked up, his voice calm. "To show you that no empire lasts forever." Outside, the stars burned with the light of new battles. The human fleet advanced quietly, choosing precision over chaos. Each move was calculated, each strike meaningful. They never celebrated victory. They only moved to the next target. In the control room of the Resolute Dawn, Captain Arlen received a message directly from Earth Command. It was a short transmission from Commander Hale. Phase 3 approved. Begin Operation Dawnfall. Arlen turned to his crew. We're not just defending Earth anymore. We're ending the war. As his words echoed through the ship, the human fleet disappeared into hyperspace. Their targets were not ships or cities. They were the power cores of the Galactic Empire itself. Moments later, across the galaxy, lights began to go out. The Emperor stood in silence as his palace trembled. What is happening? An advisor whispered. The central energy grid is collapsing. They've taken control of it. The Emperor turned to Elias, fury and fear mixing in his voice. Tell me what they want. Elias looked into the distance, where the hologram of the Milky Way flickered with red human signals. They don't want your throne. They want you to remember this day. The Emperor shouted. Why? Because, Elias said softly, you mocked what you didn't understand. The chamber went dark as the final transmission played through every system of the Galactic Empire. A human voice speaking clearly, calmly, and with certainty. This is the voice of Earth. The war you began is no longer yours to control. Then the signal cut off. In the silence that followed, the galaxy realized that the age of the Empire was ending, and the age of humanity had begun. The stars above Mars flickered like broken glass. What had once been the Empire's proudest military outpost was now a silent graveyard of drifting metal and shattered pride. The red planet's orbit was filled with wrecks of alien warships, their hulls glowing faintly as they burned in silence. From Earth's perspective, it looked like victory, but inside the human command center, the mood was anything but calm. Commander Arlen stood before a holographic map filled with hundreds of red dots, enemy fleets still moving through the galaxy. They've regrouped, he said. The Empire is gathering every remaining ship to retake the Sol system. Behind him, technicians worked at their stations. Communication signals hummed, data streams blinked, and tension filled the air. One of the analysts turned to him and said, Sir, new readings from the outer edge. They're coming in force, 2,000 ships. Arlen didn't blink. How long until they reach Neptune's orbit? 6 hours, maybe less if they jump directly. Arlen nodded. Then we have 6 hours to make them believe we're stronger than we are. Outside, the human fleet waited in formation near Jupiter. It wasn't large, barely 300 ships, most of them rebuilt from older vessels. But everyone carried advanced tactical software and cloaking systems that the Empire still didn't fully understand. The alien fleet emerged from hyperspace, massive and shimmering like a sea of metal giants. Their lead dreadnought was larger than any human city, armed with weapons that could split moons. The voice of their commander echoed through the channels. This is Admiral Terrell of the Galactic Empire. You have violated the law of the stars. Surrender or face total destruction. The humans didn't respond. Instead, the alien ships suddenly began detecting strange signals, echoes of energy moving between their ships, mimicking human transmissions. Within minutes, confusion spread across the fleet. Some ships thought their allies had already engaged. Others believed they were under attack. Their formations broke apart. At that exact moment, Commander Arlen gave the order. Deploy the decoy mirrors. Hidden satellites around Jupiter came to life, projecting hundreds of false human ships across the battlefield. On the alien radar, it looked like a massive armada rising from nowhere. Admiral Terrell's fleet fired instantly, unleashing thousands of plasma bolts into empty space. The humans didn't need to fire a single shot. They simply watched the enemy waste its strength. Inside the Resolute Dawn, the bridge glowed blue from holographic light. A young officer named Mira stared at the sensors. Sir, their weapons are draining faster than we predicted. Arlen replied, That's because fear makes them shoot faster. When the aliens realized they had been tricked, it was too late. Human ships emerged from behind Jupiter, cloaked until the last second. The first volley of real fire hit the Empire's flank. Explosions lit up the dark like stars being born and dying in an instant. Admiral Terrell screamed at his officers, "Counterattack! Lock their coordinates!" But the coordinates changed every second. The humans moved unpredictably, every maneuver executed by an AI that learned and adapted faster than any alien system. Within minutes, the Empire's neat formation turned into chaos. From Earth, Commander Hale watched the battle unfold on a massive screen deep underground. The whole planet held its breath as the transmission came through. The human fleet was smaller, but its moves were perfect, like chess pieces sliding exactly where they needed to go. Hale whispered, "They still think we're fighting with guns." He looked at the scientists behind him. "Are the shadow links stable?" A scientist nodded. "Yes, sir. Every ship is sharing data through the quantum relay. They can see each other's battles, learn from every move in real time. That was humanity's greatest weapon. Not size, not strength, but synchronization. Every human ship fought as one mind." In the council chamber, light years away, the Emperor listened to the reports. His golden armor reflected the dim glow of failing holograms. "You're telling me," he said slowly, "that they are outnumbered 6-1 and still winning?" The messenger trembled. "Yes, my Emperor. Their ships move like they already know our next actions." The Emperor clenched his fists. "Then it is not war. It is calculation." On the battlefield near Jupiter, the Empire's fleet tried to retreat. Arlen watched them scatter. He didn't smile. "They'll come again," he said quietly. "This is only the beginning." Suddenly, the radar picked up a new signal, something massive approaching from deep space. Mira's eyes widened. "Sir, a hyperspace rupture. Something big is coming through." The void tore open, revealing a monstrous ship unlike any seen before. It wasn't a warship, it was a fortress. The Imperial Corps, the Emperor's personal command vessel, entered the system. Its arrival turned the sky blood red. Arlen whispered, "They brought the Emperor himself." The alien voice echoed through all channels. "Humans of Earth, your defiance ends now. You fight well, but your time is over. I will burn your world until not even dust remains." Arlen looked at his officers. "He wants to see us break. Let's show him what humans do when cornered." He turned to Mira. "Activate the black sequence. Every human ship received the same coded order." They stopped firing. They drifted in silence. The alien fleet held position, confused. Then, all at once, the human ships shut down their lights. Space went completely dark. For 2 long minutes, nothing happened. The Empire's ships scanned every direction. Then suddenly the human fleet reappeared, right behind them. The black sequence had used a quantum displacement system that temporarily folded light around their hulls. They were invisible, even to gravity sensors. Before the aliens could react, the humans fired everything. The void lit up like a storm. The Imperial Corps shook as its shields cracked. Inside, alarms blared. The Emperor rose from his throne. "How can this be?" On the Resolute Dawn, Arlen watched calmly. "You shouldn't have underestimated us," he said. "The humans didn't destroy the Imperial Corps. Instead, they transmitted a message directly into its systems. It was a single human phrase written in galactic language. Leave Earth and live. Return, and you will not exist." The Emperor's ship jumped out of the system, leaving behind a trail of wreckage and silence. The human crew cheered quietly. For the first time, they had forced the Empire to retreat. Arlen didn't join in the celebration. He looked out the viewport, where the debris of countless ships floated like metallic ghosts. "This isn't victory," he said softly. "It's a warning." Back on Earth, the people celebrated as news spread that the Empire had fled. Cities lit up and children pointed to the night sky, whispering about the humans who had fought among the stars. But deep underground, Commander Hale knew the truth. "They'll come back," he said. "Empires always do." He turned to his team. "Prepare Phase 4. We'll end it before they reach us again." Far across the galaxy, in the council chamber, the Emperor stood in silence, staring at the hologram of Earth. Around him, his advisors spoke in fear. "They've crippled our fleets. They understand our systems. What do we do now?" The Emperor's eyes were cold. "We stop thinking of them as humans," he said, "and start thinking of them as predators." Outside the chamber, the stars burned faintly, and in the dark spaces between them, human ships waited, silent, invisible, and ready for the next strike. The galaxy had mocked humanity once. Now it whispered their name with fear. The galaxy was burning. From the outer rims to the edge of human space, red lines of plasma and blue flashes of alien cannons filled the black. Thousands of alien ships from the Empire had surrounded Earth's defense line. Every channel was flooded with the same message from the enemy commander: surrender or be destroyed. The human fleet floated silent for a moment, the tension thick as iron. Then a small signal blinked on the tactical screen. It was not an attack. It was a transmission from Admiral Ross himself. "Let them come," he said. "They have no idea what waits for them." The alien fleet advanced in formation. They were huge, like floating cities, their weapons glowing with the power of collapsing stars. Their sensors scanned Earth's orbit but found nothing unusual, only small metal shells drifting, cold and lifeless. To them, humanity's fleet looked outdated, half-dead and slow. The aliens laughed across their comm channels. They called humans a primitive race, unfit for galactic war. But what they didn't know was that those silent metal shells were traps. Each one carried hundreds of AI-controlled drones hidden inside, their power sources masked under layers of magnetic dust. As the first wave of alien ships approached, the drones woke. They moved like a storm of metal insects, cutting through the vacuum faster than radar could track. Within seconds, they tore through the Empire's front line, slicing hulls and blinding sensors. The aliens panicked. What they thought were broken satellites were actually precision-built weapons. On Earth, the command center erupted in controlled chaos. Every officer's eyes were fixed on the battle screens. The alien ships were firing wildly now, wasting their energy on empty space. Admiral Ross watched quietly, his hands folded behind his back. His voice broke through the noise. "They still underestimate us," he said. "Increase the pulse frequency. Let them see what human engineering means." From deep beneath Earth's crust, massive magnetic generators activated. Invisible energy waves pulsed through orbit, disabling alien propulsion systems one by one. Thousands of ships drifted helplessly. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire's mighty armada froze before a single planet. The alien commander tried to restore control. His voice, filled with disbelief, echoed through the communication channels. "How can this be? Their technology is ancient," he shouted. But the humans had learned to turn simplicity into strength. While the Empire relied on raw power, humans focused on precision, adaptability, and speed. As the magnetic storm spread, a smaller human vessel moved forward. It was the Resolute, a stealth ship built from dark alloys that absorbed light. Inside, Captain Elena Ward led her team toward the enemy command ship. Her crew was silent, every movement exact. They had been trained for this. Infiltration, not conquest. Humanity didn't need to destroy the Empire's fleet. They needed to cripple its command. They flew through the debris field, dodging beams of energy and broken hulls. A plasma bolt grazed their shields, sending sparks across the deck. But Elena didn't flinch. "Steady," she ordered. "They think we're scavengers." "Let them keep thinking that." Her ship slipped under the largest alien dreadnought, where its shields were weakest. In the command chamber of that dreadnought, the Empire's Supreme Commander, Lord Kareth, stood tall, his golden armor glowing under the dim red lights. His confidence was fading. Reports flooded in, systems offline, engines disabled, fleets unresponsive. Then a small alert flashed on his screen, an unauthorized breach in the lower hangar. By the time his guards reached it, the humans were already inside. Captain Ward led her team through the corridors, moving like shadows. They planted electromagnetic charges along the power conduits and data cores. Her second officer, a young engineer named Patel, looked nervous. "Ma'am, we're inside the heart of their ship," he whispered. "If this goes wrong," Elena glanced at him and smiled faintly. "If this goes wrong, no one will remember failure. Only defiance." They reached the central core. A giant glowing sphere pulsed with blue energy, the ship's control node. Elena placed her hand on the console and uploaded a virus created by Earth's best minds. It wasn't a typical weapon. It didn't destroy. It rewrote. Within seconds, the ship's systems turned against its masters. Doors sealed, power rerouted, and engines overloaded. Lord Kareth's voice thundered through the chamber. "You think you can bring down the Empire with tricks?" Elena looked up at the security camera, calm and fearless. "No," she said. "We'll bring you down with reason and will." "The things you thought made us weak." Then she pressed the trigger. The core exploded in a blinding flash. The Resolute escaped seconds before the dreadnought imploded, taking hundreds of ships in the blast radius. From Earth's surface, the explosion looked like a second sun rising in orbit. Humanity had just destroyed the Empire's flagship. The news spread across the galaxy like fire through dry grass. Species that had once mocked humans began to whisper their name with new caution. The Galactic Council was in disarray. How could a planet considered so young in galactic terms outsmart the oldest empire known to exist? In the aftermath, Admiral Ross met with the Council again, this time not as a prisoner, but as a representative of power. The council hall was silent when he entered. The alien delegates, once arrogant, now avoided his gaze. The same old man they had mocked months ago now stood before them with the quiet confidence of someone who had seen the impossible done. Lord Kareth appeared on the holographic screen, his armor scorched, his pride shattered. "You will pay for this," he growled. "You cannot win against the full strength of the Empire." Ross looked directly into the projection. "You wanted war," he said slowly, every word heavy with resolve. "Then you'll have battle. But remember this, humans don't fight for conquest. We fight because you gave us no choice." The council chamber was silent. No one laughed this time. The old human's voice carried more power than any fleet. And outside, as Earth's ships began to regroup, the galaxy watched, realizing that humanity, once ignored, had now become a force that could not be stopped. Far beyond the Council's reach, alien intelligence networks scrambled to predict what humans would do next. Some wanted to negotiate, others to retreat. But deep in the human command center, new plans were already being drawn. Engineers spoke of reverse engineering alien tech. Scientists worked on creating hybrid energy reactors. Humanity had stepped into the stars, and they weren't planning to stop. As the final transmission from Earth echoed through the void, one line stood out across all frequencies, heard even by those who once mocked them. "You wanted war. We will give you battle." And for the first time in galactic history, the galaxy felt fear, not of an empire, but of Earth. The sky above Earth was on fire again. Giant alien warships hung in orbit like dark suns, their weapons glowing red as they charged for another strike. The Empire had returned, stronger and angrier. This time, they came not just to punish, but to erase humanity completely. The oceans boiled under their first barrage. The air trembled with every blast that hit the upper atmosphere. From the cities below, billions watched the sky, seeing their world surrounded by an endless fleet of death. But inside a deep underground base beneath the Andes, humanity's leaders were calm. In a dim war room, General Marcus Hale stood before a massive holographic display showing the alien invasion pattern. His face was still, his voice steady as he gave the order. "Activate Project Eclipse." The officers around him exchanged uncertain looks. Everyone knew the name, but few understood what it truly was. For years, humans had been quietly building something far beyond the Council's knowledge, a weapon that wasn't meant to destroy, but to make the impossible possible. High above, while alien ships continued to hammer the Earth's defenses, a strange formation of human vessels rose from the dark side of the moon. They looked like black shards of glass, unlit and silent. The alien sensors barely registered them, assuming they were debris. Then one by one they unfolded, revealing complex antenna structures and glowing blue cores. Within minutes the fleet vanished, not cloaked but gone. Every alien radar, scanner, and energy probe lost track of them. Confusion spread across the Empire's command channels. The alien admiral barked orders to recalibrate sensors, but it was useless. The humans had disappeared. Then, without warning, the first alien battleship exploded. Not from outside fire, but from the inside. Power systems went critical, energy cores overloaded, and massive vessels tore apart silently in the vacuum. Another ship followed, then another. Within 5 minutes, 30 alien ships were gone, vaporized by something invisible and precise. On the human command deck orbiting Mars, Commander Leona Vega watched the chaos unfold. Her lips curved into a small, grim smile. "They're finally seeing what Project Eclipse really means," she whispered. The weapon wasn't a single cannon or bomb. It was a network, a swarm of artificial minds that could slip through energy fields, hijack enemy systems, and rewrite them in seconds. The project was built from human ingenuity, old alien scraps, and a concept no alien empire had ever considered. Fighting wars not with size or strength, but with adaptation. The alien admiral slammed his clawed fist on the console. "Trace the interference! Find their signal!" he roared. But every time they locked onto a trace, it dissolved like smoke. Human code shifted patterns faster than their computers could process. What the Empire had dismissed as a primitive race was now rewriting the rules of galactic warfare. Back on Earth, General Hale looked at the tactical map. Blue lights representing alien fleets were slowly turning gray, disabled, hacked, or destroyed. But he didn't celebrate. He knew this wasn't over. The Empire still had millions of ships across the stars, and this was only the first wave. He turned to his chief scientist, Dr. Amina Clark. "How long before the system burns out?" She didn't look up from her console. "At this rate, 12 hours, she said. "After that, Eclipse will shut down. It can't sustain control beyond that window." 12 hours, Hale repeated quietly. "Then we make them remember us for eternity." While Earth prepared for its counterattack, chaos consumed the Galactic Council. The hall that once echoed with laughter at humanity's expense was now filled with panic. Delegates shouted, argued, and demanded answers. The Empire's representatives were furious, accusing others of helping the humans. Some worlds wanted to surrender to Earth before the war spread. At the center of the chamber, the oldest council member, a being of crystalline skin and glowing eyes, spoke softly. "The humans warned us," it said. "They told us if we mocked them, they would show us battle. Now they have." The words silenced the chamber. None could deny it anymore. Humanity was no longer a backwater world. They were now a storm rising across the galaxy. Meanwhile, far from Earth, deep in space, the alien admiral regrouped his surviving forces near Saturn's orbit. His massive command ship, Dominion, was 3 times larger than any human vessel. "Deploy the Annihilator cores," he commanded. "We will turn their planet into dust." But as the massive cores charged, strange distortions appeared around them. Space itself seemed to ripple. Out of the distortion, dozens of small human ships appeared, black and silent. They didn't fire weapons. They simply drifted toward the alien ships like ghosts. "Destroy them!" the admiral screamed. Beams of plasma shot out, cutting through the void. But every human vessel split apart, reforming instantly somewhere else. The aliens were fighting shadows. Then one human ship broke silence. A voice echoed across all channels, calm and strong. It was Commander Vega. "You called us fragile," she said. "You called us insignificant. But we learned from you, and we evolved." In the next moment, the entire alien armada's systems went dark. Their reactors shut down, shields failed, and communication ceased. One by one, their ships fell silent. The Admiral's last sight was of his fleet turning against itself, hijacked by human control. Then, in an instant, every ship detonated, lighting up the space around Saturn like a second sun. Back on Earth, the night sky glowed with the reflections of victory. People came out from shelters, staring in silence. The war wasn't over, but the tide had changed forever. Humanity had stood against the mightiest empire in the galaxy and survived. General Hale watched the feed of destroyed alien fleets. His voice was quiet, almost reverent. "We were never their slaves," he said. "We were their warning." Dr. Clark looked at him. "What now?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "Now we finish it." The final phase of Project Eclipse began. Using the captured data from the alien fleets, human engineers built a communication pulse that reached across the galaxy. It carried no threat, no demand, only one message repeated in every known language. "We are humans. We will not kneel. If you seek to rule us, remember what happened to those who tried." That signal spread faster than light, reaching distant colonies, empires, and forgotten worlds. And for the first time in galactic history, the name Earth carried power, not from fear alone, but from respect. In the ruins of the Empire's capital world, survivors watched the stars where their fleets had vanished. Rumors began to spread of humans who could control machines with thought, who fought without armies, who won wars through ideas, and somewhere in the dark, among the stars, a new fleet was being built. Not for conquest, but for defense. A fleet of unity where humans and a few brave alien allies worked side by side. Commander Vega stood aboard the new flagship, Vanguard, watching the distant galaxies. Her voice carried through the command deck. "They wanted war," she said quietly. "We gave them battle. Now we'll give the galaxy something greater, peace our way." Outside, the stars shimmered against the black void. Earth had risen from the ashes of mockery and fear to become the one thing no empire could destroy: hope. And as the fleet of Earth's new guardians left orbit, their engines lighting the darkness, one message echoed through every channel of the galaxy once more. "You wanted war. We gave you battle. Remember that always."